Okay. Okay, we will restart. There are a few messages from some of you about disconnecting from the Zoom. That's okay because it's not a kind of continuous evaluation being done. So it's okay. Right? You will be excused for that. No grading will be lost due to such disconnections. Right? So keep that worry away from your mind. Then there was one question about this diagram, which I will quickly explain before we move to the light meditation. Last time we were studying about this inner loop, which is going through the mental door, where this is known as the mental door. So when there is no other input taken from other five senses, the elementary mental states will be continuously changing in this loop, and it's so fast that there will be millions or billions of them in a very short time. So we will not be able to track them by meditation, by simple meditations. Then, so while the mental loop is running, if the mind finds something attractive coming in from one of the other five senses, it will branch out from this inner loop like this, from the rest state to stirring state. Stirring means it is just becoming aware that something else is trying to enter from one of the other five senses. And then excited state about it's excited now to branch out from this inner loop. So it will not branch this way, it will go to sense door advertising state. And it will go to sense door consciousness state. This is where the other five senses, one of those five doors will be open. Then it will accept and it will investigate. And after that, it will go into active determining stage and active indulging state. Why I put this as red? Because this is the active indulging state where all the emotions and all these other big mental factors will come in. And this is where the volitions are generated also. Mental volitions, physical volitions, so verbal volitions are also generated in this state. And then it will, after one input is taken from other five senses, then it will again consider it in the mental loop multiple times. That's what we discussed. So since it was, some of you indicated it's little tough, I will give you a easy analogy for you to remember this, what the mind does. This diagram also we did. So it is, you can think of this is just an analogy for remembering. This is like the rest state, right? It's like the rest state. So you know that the spiders normally rest there in their nest. The mind has laid a nest in order to catch colors and sounds from the external world. Colors, sounds, taste. That is a nest. The nest consists of our eye, our ears, eyes, ears, nose, the tongue, and the whole body, the skin. So that is like the nest of the spider, whereas spider is the mind. So the spider lay down the nest and will be resting until a prey will arrive in some place of the nest. I think you have seen the spiders. When a particular prey touches one particular region of the nest will be stirred. nest will be stirred, and that is sensed by the spider. Same way, that is why this is called the stirring state. Then the spider will be excited. Okay, some prey has arrived, and then it will advertising state means the spider will find out from which direction of the nest that stirring is coming. You would have seen that the spider does not wander around, it directly moves to that particular place because it has sensed that stirring has happened from there. Same way, the mind will notice something is happening at the eye or ear or nose. So which place it will immediately know which is of interest, then it will pay attention to that. Like the spider moving there to catch the prey, the mind will be actually going to open that door with consciousness in that door. After that, you would have seen the spider will paralyze the prey and will consume the prey. And after that, it will return here. That activities of like paralyzing is like other states that you have seen in that loop. Consuming is that active indulging state. So the mind will consume the color or the taste or the color or the sound or the taste or the touch, what is coming from the nest. It will consume in the indulging state, and after that it will move back to the rest state. So if you remember this, I would suggest you go and watch a spider in his cobweb, what it is doing, and carefully watch the activity and compare it with your mind. Then compare it with that diagram. After that, that diagram will not be something complex. Right? It will be exactly almost identical to what the spider does. Okay. I want to introduce this last meditation, light meditation, in this session now. It's a simple technique. Let me pose a question to you here. There is a cupboard like this, and what will be, assume that the cupboard is not filled with any goods, right? Nothing is there. So if you visualize inside of the cupboard, what is there inside the cupboard? Well, I'm sure you would answer as darkness, isn't it? There will be darkness within the cupboard. Then if anyone asks you, how did you know? Because you did not open the cupboard to see, and you could not see inside while you are here. How did you arrive at this decision? Well, think about it. You arrived at this decision by your previous knowledge, isn't it? Knowledge of physics, knowledge of light, and all that. Because that darkness is something you did not see inside the cupboard at this moment. Although you didn't see it, you didn't have any direct experience with the darkness inside the cupboard. You perceived darkness based on your past knowledge of physics or knowledge of light. So with respect to the mind, what is darkness? Did the mind know darkness before you were born? Or immediately after you were born? Or when did we learn the darkness? To call it darkness. So that is through experience, isn't it? So the light level can only be detected by the eye. It cannot be detected by the ear or the nose or tongue or no other sense. It can only be detected by the eye. Light level cannot be detected by the mind also, because mind can detect only mental factors, not physical factors. Mind needs the support of the eye if it is to assess the light level. But In this case of the cupboard, the mind does not get the support from the eye because the cupboard is closed. I cannot see inside. So the mind works alone on its own and decides what is inside that is black or dark. So that color, black or dark, is actually a perception of the mind. It's not sure because the eye did not support in this instance. I did not support the mind to take that decision. So what I'm trying to say is that what you call darkness, as for your mind, it is a perception. It is not a physical form, it is a perception. What about the word light? If darkness is a perception, because the mind cannot see the darkness without the eye. The eye is generating the perception of light perception we call it, and then pass it on to the mind, and the mind will then understand it as a second step. In case the eye is not passing anything, the mind will not understand darkness or light without any previous experience. Right? If it has previous experience, then it will recall. Therefore, this darkness is just a kind of perception for your mind, because mind can't see the darkness. Only the eye can see. Light is also same. Mind can't see the light. The eye will see the light, generate the light perception and pass it on to the mind. So mind is totally working on the perceptions passed by the eye to the mind for the rest of the thinking. Just like the cupboard, if you think of inside the body, inside your body right now, what is the color or light level there? Again, the mind will conclude it is totally dark inside there. Why? Because you have evidence from your previous experience that when something is fully enclosed, there can be light in that. But that is only a thought, isn't it? Because you have never gone inside your body to see whether it is lighted inside the body or whether it is total darkness prevailing there. Have you ever done that? I'm sure you haven't done that, and you will not be able to do that any day, right? Even in the future. Which means that you will never know for sure. It's all about that previous learning that you did, which will help you to deduct that conclusion, arrive at that conclusion. Okay, what our mind does when the sloth and torpor is set in, before that, if I summarize what I just said, what is called light or what is called darkness are both perceptions with respect to the mind. Lightness, light or dark means just perceptions as for the mind. Since you know that all perceptions, all mental images are created by you, owned by you, managed by you, you can manage this perception of light or darkness. You can manage the perception of light or darkness. Why we need to manage it is because of this. Suppose you are in a lecture and you feel sleepy, right? And just recall that incident. What is the perception that the mind gets? When you feel sleepy inside the mind, in order to facilitate your sleeping, the mind will formulate darkness. So that although the lecture room or the room you are in is very much lighted, very brightly lighted, still when you feel sleepy, you feel that darkness is setting in. darkness is setting in, that perception is generated by the mind for a purpose. That is to facilitate you to go into sleep. So for the mind, that darkness is generated from within in order to support the sleep. Now, this is what happens when sloth and torpor is taking over your mind. When that hindrance becomes powerful, it will set darkness perception. It will activate the darkness perception within the mind. So if you don't want to go into sleep, what should you do? You can replace that darkness perception by bright light perception in the mind by managing it completely within the mind. You can do that. That is what the light meditation is. For example, you see darkness. Right? Well, if I take my image also away, it's total darkness, right? But also, what do we call darkness? Suppose you go out at night to a particular place and see this scenario, you think, okay, it's totally dark. But that is because of the limitation of our eye. It does not mean that there is no light out there. It just means that the light level there is not enough to trigger the sensor in our eye. But you know, when you look at the same scene of darkness, maybe through IR lenses, right? IR lenses, it could be like this. What you saw as darkness is not really darkness. There are various other objects around which you could see by IR light. That means the IR light has been there in the street or outside. So what is known as darkness to the mind is what it has perceived, not exactly the light out there. Because what you call darkness is also having some amount of light. Okay, so in this meditation, this is what we do. Now you know why you are going to do that, because you can overcome the sloth and torpor by this technique. There are 3 methods to overcome the sloth and torpor. One is walking meditation. The second one is this light meditation. Third one is the meditation on the natural phenomena called the death. Now, in the light meditation, first you become aware of the body at the present moment, and then take the attention to inside of the chest, right? Inside of the chest, and naturally you will get that perception. Okay, it's dark there. It's dark there, but you know it is just a perception which you can change. So let the mind become aware of that region, and then do a volition, mental volition, to light up inside the chest with a small amount of light initially. Right? You can generate the perception of dim light inside the chest. And when that dim light is generated through multiple volitions in that mental loop, you can even brighten it. You can increase the brightness gradually using the mental volitional loop, because it's all perception for the mind. Okay, then equate the intensity to broad daylight. Intensity of light inside the chest is you brighten it until it becomes equal to broad daylight. Like this, for example, for your mind, you can generate a small amount of light within the body, and then make it brighter and brighter through volitions. After that, you expand the lighted area to the belly, from the chest to the belly, and you fill the belly area also with the light. Fill the inside of the legs with that light. Let the light flow to the hands and fingers and from the chest. Let the light fill in inside the neck also, up to the top of the head. Let the light flow into the head and flood the whole head, and visualize broad daylight everywhere inside the body also. So that that light you perceive as filling everywhere in the body. Okay. Then expand the light to the external world in all directions and let it fill the whole world uniformly. Visualize external internal light equal at the same time simultaneously. Equate the light everywhere into broad daylight. You can expand the light to day and night also if you wish. Past and future also if you wish, because these day-night perceptions, past, future perceptions are all within your mind. Okay, so equating the light between outside and inside until kind of your own identity will vanish into thin air. Okay, so that is the light meditation. It's a very simple meditation. Many people use it as a micro meditation after practicing. Once you have sufficiently practiced, you can do it in a very short time when you feel taken over by sloth and torpor. If you are unable to move for walking, this will be a very handy meditation to overcome sloth and torpor. We'll try to do it today in few minutes, but being the first day, it may not be that successful because in your minds, that darkness perception is very, very strong because you have learned physics over a long period of time now that every enclosed area is dark. And that has become the rule now for your mind. So overcoming that rule is not easy unless you notice that the perception of darkness is only a perception which the mind can always replace with something else. And unless you understand that theory of the mind, what you learned is very difficult to unlearn, right? In one day. Unlearning that belief will take a bit of a time. Therefore, today it may not be very successful. We'll try. Right? We'll try and see for 5 to 10 minutes from now on. You don't need to switch on the camera. We are just doing a trial on light meditation today. Okay. Any questions before we move on to that? Because I'm sure what I mentioned is really attacking your beliefs about darkness. When we strongly believe in darkness, that is because the mind strongly believes in the I, in the capability of the eyes. But eyes are not the mind. Eyes and mind are two different things. If the mind does not want to believe what the eye presents, that's okay for the mind. Okay, one question I'm receiving is, do we think that there is light inside non-living objects too? Yes. Well, all enclosed things, even a tree, even inside the tree, you replace the light. Replace it with light, because inside of the tree you would not have seen. Actually, it's your knowledge of physics that helps you to guess that inside the tree it must be dark, because that darkness is also argued and perceived same way. You can argue there is light inside the tree, argue with the mind, let the mind perceive that. The mind is capable of perceiving anything. So it's not only the living beings, even non-living things, every enclosed area, all replaced by the darkness. Hope you would have guessed why are we doing that, because when you feel sleepy, the mind is bringing in calling upon the darkness perception to facilitate the sleeping. Now, we don't want the sleeping to be facilitated at that time. We want to be active and energetic. Therefore, we go against what the mind is doing at that moment. Since the mind is trying to bring in the darkness perception, we try to bring in the exact opposite, light perception. So when your volitions become strong, the mind will finally obey you or succumb. That is the idea. Okay. Do we need to close the eyes? It will induce sleep. You don't need to close the eyes, but since until you practice sufficiently, it is better to close. Okay? Because when you feel sleepy, anyway, the eyes will become half closed, whether you like it or not. So practice can also be done with the eyes closed, so that even if the eyes actually close in a real situation, still that practice is strong enough to bring in the new volitions. That is, therefore, it's okay to keep the eyes closed during practice, because you are practicing this to be used at a time where the eyes will be closing by force due to boredom or something. Okay, shall we do that? After that, we can also discuss about it. Okay, you can take a suitable position. Any position is okay for this meditation. You can be sitting, standing, or whatever. Well, as for today, you can close the eyes. Close the eyes. Become aware of the body like you did earlier. Okay, here is the body. Feel the two hands, two legs. Feel the belly, chest area, neck, and the head. Now that you have practiced, you can quickly become aware. And now you feel everywhere of the body. Okay, now let the mind go into the chest, inside the chest. Is it dark or light there? Well, if it is dark, use your volitional power of the mind by doing volitions. Confirm to the mind there is light within the chest now. The chest area is lighted up from inside. Chest area is lighted up from inside. My chest is lighted up inside. Keep doing these volitions. Initially, it may be some dim light appearing. And using the dim light, you may be able to see the different body parts there. Well, now brighten the light further, becoming slowly aware that there is more bright light inside the chest. The light is becoming brighter. It's more bright now. More bright now. even more brighter. And it's like broad daylight now. Just like broad daylight everywhere inside the chest. Not any shading anywhere. That chest area is lighted up with wholesome lighting. No shadows. Lighted from all angles. No shadow at all, anywhere. Okay, now let the light flow down to the belly. Make it brighter so that it is powerful enough to fill the belly area. So inside the body, all lighted with bright light. You can see everything like in broad daylight. Light everywhere, no shadows. No shadow at all. And now let the light flow down to the two legs. Enter the two legs and flow down to the knees, flow down to the ankle, flow down to the fingers. Everything inside the two legs are visible now in broad daylight. No shadows anywhere. Now let the light flow along the two hands, entering from the shoulders, going down to the fingers of each hand. Visualize the fingers also lighting up from inside. Now let the light flow up to the neck area and the head area. Slowly the head is being filled up by light. No shadows. Everything in the head is lighted up from all angles. So it's like broad daylight there without shadows. Now perceive the whole body completely full of light. Everything is like in broad daylight now. And now extend that light to outside the body. Visualize your whole room filling with broad daylight and equate the light inside, outside of the body. Okay, slowly extend the light outwards in all directions. All enclosures getting brighter, filled with light inside. Even the trees, houses, fill them all with bright light. Okay, up to infinity in all directions. And now you can increase the light even more brighter. Brightness is totally under your control of the volitions. Make it brighter and brighter and brighter, so that even demarcations between you and outside are removed. It's only light everywhere. Only the light can be seen everywhere. Okay, let the mind remain with that light perception as a practice. Right? Continue few minutes with the light perception, inside as well as outside, until you find there is no place in the world anywhere, there is no shadow anywhere, no shadow of darkness. Everything lighted from all directions. They are lighted even beyond the daylight, very bright. So slowly the light is boundless, limitless, infinite. Okay, decide to come out of that perception of light. Say to yourself, I'm going to come out of this meditation. Say it several times to yourself and you can open the eyes. Okay, kind of strange meditation, isn't it? But you will notice once the mind practice this for some time, it may need about a month of practice. After that, that remains as a tool with you, so that whenever you find the mind is getting dull, the thinking process is sluggish, and you notice sloth and torpor is attacking you or taking over you, at a time where you don't want to go into sleepiness, then you can use this as a micro meditation. Micro meditations are meditations previously developed and carried as a tool in your mind, so that whenever you need it, you can very quickly apply it to the situation. That kind of meditations are called micro meditations. They may not last for more than few minutes, but with practice, they become powerful enough to overcome sloth and torpor here. Well, one question is, there some meditation called dark meditation to induce sleepiness, to sleep well at night? I think you guessed it very correctly. There is. There is for people having trouble with sleep. This perception of darkness sometimes helps them. I mean, some minds can be trained to perceive darkness. You are very correct there. One more question Minds is asking, is there a Pali term for this meditation? Yes, the Pali term for this meditation is Aloka Sanya. It's called Aloka Sanya. Aloka Sanya Bhavana is the name for that. It assumes that the light, the aloka, is a perception, is a sanya or perception as for the mind. Light is not perception for the eye. The eye is real and the light will fall upon that. That part is real. But the mind is always relying on the eye, relying on the information given by the eye to create this perception of darkness or light within the mind. Now that you are taking over the control of your mind, you know you can control on any perception you had earlier. You can change them. You can change them, and whenever you don't want this dark perception appearing, you can always try this. It really works. Istavir is asking, how shall you know that you are hijacked by sloth and torpor, or you are fatigue or working. Sloth and torpor, or you are fatigue of working. The sloth and torpor doesn't exist means after you get up from sleep, you won't feel sleepy till you get to bed again. Exactly, yes. Because the sleepiness, there are two ways sleepiness can appear. One is real, as you suggest here, fatigue or overworking, where the body is overworked. Suppose your body has been doing a lot of activities, then body needs rest, and that is real sleep you need. And don't use this particular thing, light meditation, to prevent that sleep. That is really necessary. What I am talking about is not that. We use this meditation at a time where the body is not tired at all. And nowadays, for example, you are confined to your home and your body is not doing much work, isn't it? If you still feel sleepy, that's a problem in the mind, sloth and torpor. That's not demanded by the body. Body does not need that sleep. So that is the time. That is the time you use this meditation. So good question, Istavir. Please judge that whether, I think you know from the morning up to now how much of calories your body burned and how much tired you are physically. If you think that you are really physically tired, yes, don't sleep over it. That's the only way. If you think, okay, body did not do much work, but still I'm feeling fatigued or I'm tired, that's a problem in the mind, problem in the thoughts. That is sloth and torpor present in the mind. Thank you, sir. Does 6 hours of sleep daily healthy as a habit for an ordinary human being? Yes, 6 hours. Maximum could be 8, but 6 hours is the healthy sleep actually. At your age, even maybe 8 hours fine. But for an elderly person like us, even 6 hours is more than necessary for the body to replenish and revitalize for the next day. Rest of the sleepiness is coming due to something like something else. Mostly it is a problem with the mental process. Well, thanks for all those questions. I think they are very useful, meaningful questions. Okay, but don't expect any quick results with this meditation. You need a minimum of about 1 month of practice to overcome all the laws of physics that you have learned earlier. One thing I would like to remember is that the mind does not need to obey the laws of physics. The laws of physics does not apply to the mind. They apply to the eye, they apply to the ear, they apply to the nose, throat, or the nose and the tongue and the body. All the physical laws that you learned in physics will apply. But for the mind, no physical law will apply. No, it's all mind processes, mental laws will apply. So don't let the mind be confined to physical laws, laws of physics. Then the mind will get handicapped. Right? Because then the mind will be believing in the eyes, ears, tongue, and all that physical things too much, and the mind's power will be limited to the limits of the physical laws of the world. Sir, can you suggest more resources to continue practice after the module? About sessions you conduct out of the course. Well, if you really think meditation is something you like, and in some people the meditation is really there within them, that ability is there, they can just take it out. Well, I would suggest you follow it up with daily practice after the course. If you search the YouTube, you will find my channel under my name. There will be lots of meditations. Unfortunately, they are in Sinhala, one or two maybe English, but not in Tamil, unfortunately, because I am not conversant very much. Or if you are really, I can give another site as well. Let me type on the chat. I forgot the name of that site. Well, there are recordings of other meditation sessions. Some of them are very long, maybe full day. Well, what I would suggest is first you can search for my YouTube channel, and there will be lots of other meditations and some more meditation knowledge you can gather from the sessions that I conducted for the public. So if you want to do it as lifelong learning, meditation is very good for lifelong learning and practice. You can use them. Use the YouTube channel. And one more question. During the light meditation, do we ignore the objects around us? Should we focus only on the brightness? That is one very good question, because I forgot to explain that. Thank you for that. This light meditation, I forgot to give you this. Light meditation has two levels. One light meditation level is only for the daylight. Only for the daylight. It is in Pali, it is called Diva Sanya. Diva means daylight. It's Diva Sanya. It means you equate the light everywhere only to the level of broad daylight, where you can see colors, you can visualize every other objects also in broad daylight. So that is called Diva Sanya. And the next level of light meditation is you make it more and more brighter, like what is seen in this picture on the screen. You increase the brightness until the brightness takes over all other details. So everything becomes white. Demarcations between different objects are gone. Demarcation of your own body is also gone. And that level is the final level of the Aloka Sanya. That's called the Aloka Sanya. The other one, the broad daylight level, if you stop at that level, that is called the Diva Sanya. So two different levels of light meditation. Thank you for raising that, because I forgot to explain earlier. Okay, let me look at the time, because I think the quiz is also there today. Okay, maybe it's time for us to stop for the quiz, because the quiz will open at 12 o'clock and we'll finish at 12:15. There'll be 20 multiple choice questions like earlier. Then about this final, there is a final report which you can summarize from what you already wrote in the journal, which I will upload. Report format I will upload. Mostly you don't need to write completely new things. It's just summarizing your whole experience into a small report, for which you can use what you already wrote in the journal. Well, some messages, thank you messages for these valuable meditation sessions. We learned a lot and they have been really useful to us. Okay, I'm really happy. If they are useful to you and to make your life happy, I will be the happiest actually. So is it possible to contact you regarding doubts in meditation after today at any time? Yes, Mahesh, you can contact me at any time. Use my phone number, which may be there in the web, or shall I type it here? You can use that phone number to contact me regarding meditation or regarding anything about what worries, any worries about your mind, or any such things, like even counseling, if any one of you feel at a particular time, please do contact, right? I'll be very happy to help as much as I can. When we track our sleep using a device, we see both deep and normal sleep. What will be the good values for these sleeps? Well, deep sleep is necessary for the body. The normal sleep is an in-between state. Usually the mindfulness should be carried up to the sleep. There is mindful sleeping techniques so that you let yourself enter into the sleep with complete mindfulness. So that will facilitate the sleep to replenish the body very quickly. Right, I think time is up for us to stop. This quiz is a closed book, so don't use the notes. You may not have enough time to use the notes also, right? Well, let me wish you all success, especially in your life. And I hope these meditation topics we discussed will remain with you. And I hope you will make use of them even later part of your life. Thank you very much, and thank you for all your attention, support, and everything. Okay. Please log on to Moodle by 12 o'clock, right?